Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome to New Life Live. This is actually a great day. It's maybe been trivialized a little bit with green beer and all that, but it's St. Patrick's Day, and helping me to acknowledge the work of St. Patrick, Dr. Jill Hubbard and Dr. Alice Benton. I mean, you know, there's a book. Very few people have read this book. When we were on our first trip to Ireland, I did. How the Irish Saved Civilization. And literally, people under the influence of St. Patrick and all of the folks over there, the priests and the bishops and everyone, they were committed. When the barbarians were destroying everything, everything, they left Ireland and went into Europe to preserve whatever they could preserve, and that's why people say they literally saved civilization. It could have been an amazing setback if they hadn't done what they had done. I love Ireland. I can't wait to go there again. We've taken people there on New Life trips. We've taken golf outings, and it is one amazing country. Now, what do you guys have to say to that?
Top of the morning to you, and the
Steve?
rest of the day to you.
There you go. All right. Well, you know, life, we need people that are transformers. I mean, your life could feel like, you know, a dull, drab, out-of-date room with old furniture that's boring and dull and dirty, and you could just
luck at all.
remodel the interior of your life the way we remodel the interior of our homes and our living rooms. And it can, you know, a lot of people remodel the exterior, and that's it. But Jesus was very focused on the inside, not the outside. Don't clean the outside of the cup. Let's work on that inside. That's what he was all about, and that's what we're all about, too. We'll help you do that. Well, I want to go to the phones, and I'm going to talk with somebody from Washington, D.C., listening on WAVA. It's Freddie. Freddie, you're on. How are you today?
Good afternoon. Me and my wife were here listening. We're well, and we're glad we can be on.
Great. How could we help?
Well, it's a long story, but basically is my son's first-year birthday party is coming up this weekend, and my brother-in-law, that was him in the back. My brother-in-law is coming, but I've had issues with him before. I'll be honest, I didn't want him to get married with my sister. I even called in the show, and I got advice a couple of years ago what to do in this case. And short is that he came to our church, he left the church, so there's some history there. And now my wife is saying that if he is at the party, she would have no problem telling him that she's not comfortable with him there until they speak about whatever occurred. But she doesn't have anything against him. For me, it's difficult to see how that can be at the same time. But I side with my wife because I also have my only uneasiness is the fact that he's never really acknowledged my son when he's been over at my mother-in-law. I mean, that's my mom's house when he's there. But I just wanted to get your perspective, your opinion.
We're going to help you there. Who invited him to the party?
I think my mother did.
Well, it's not her party. It's not her party.
It's at her house, though. That's the thing.
Oh, it's at her house? That's too bad. All right, we'll give you some help right after this. You're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-229-3000.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, he just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Columbus, Ohio, April 8th to the 10th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Dr. Jill Hubbard. Dr. Alice Benton. We're on the phone with a birthday party bust, and it's not pretty here. And so Freddie's brother-in-law has been invited to the birthday party of his son and not a welcome guest. Alice, Jill, what do you think he could do? When's the party, by the way, Freddie?
I think soon.
Freddie, are you there?
We're assuming he's going to be there.
When is the party?
This Saturday, and
This
we're assuming
Saturday.
he's going to be there because you live there.
Yeah. Okay,
he
so
lives at the house.
Uh-huh.
Correct. Yes.
Well, we've got some time to do something here, don't we?
I think we do.
Let's see what Jill thinks could be done.
I'm wondering, Freddie, obviously this has been an ongoing issue, right? It didn't just pop onto the scene because your son is having a birthday. And so I'm wondering, I've seen so many people use major family events to kind of make their point or to, finally decide to deal with an issue. And sometimes a family event is not the time to make your point or deal with an issue. Sometimes if it hasn't been dealt with previously and everybody has kind of tolerated, okay, I'm not saying that's where it should stay, but sometimes for the sake of the event, we go on and we tolerate it, and then we make the time outside of the events to deal with the issue.
Or we deal with it before the event.
Right, or we deal with it before the event. Because
I 100% agree with that. But sorry, I'm calling with my wife along here with me.
Okay.
And she's expressing that, and also the fact that I'm sorry, this might be a background information here, but
it's okay.
But my wife's mother is an associate pastor who got invited to my sister and my brother-in-law's wedding, and then got disinvited a few days before, literally saying because he was uncomfortable with her being there. So
okay, but that's what he did.
Understandably.
But that's what he did. Okay, and so this doesn't need to be tit for tat. Well, you did this, so we can do this to you. Okay, this Saturday is about your son's birthday. Now, you chose to have it at your mother's house, right? So in choosing that, you knew that he lived there, right? And so there wasn't an arrangement made prior to choosing that or choosing to have it somewhere else where you could have then not invited him. And I think in choosing that location, if he lives there, he is automatically invited. And so do you want your son's first birthday to be remembered as being all about your brother-in-law and the discomfort and all of that? Or do you want to celebrate your son? And
I agree.
And maybe have one person at the party that isn't really celebrating with you, and you ignore him. And if he's disruptive at the party, I think then you ask him to leave. But otherwise, you ignore him.
And why wouldn't you or you and your wife call him and in a very adult way say, I want to talk to you about the stuff. You know it's there.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about how we're feeling and how that relates to this weekend if you want to. But I would just start by saying we want to talk about the reality of our relationship. Alice, what are you thinking here?
Freddie, is he dangerous or abusive?
Abusive that I don't know, but dangerous in the sense that I think he got caught up in a lot of lies and weird history and difficulty with my friends at the church that he used to go with, and just yeah, he left the church.
You certainly can't trust him. Will it be a risk to be around him if he's at the party for you and your family to be in close quarters with him?
Not a physical risk, because I think he knows how to act very well around people. He can be very sociable when he wants to, but I don't see him that often. But then the other times I know we've been there and everybody's like, "Is he okay? Like, is something wrong with him? Is he sick or something? Why is he acting this way?" I don't want to use the word weird, but yeah, it's kind of weird.
And you have legitimate concerns about his history, but he will likely not be an unsafe presence at this birthday party. I want you to check on what might be a divine nudge. That although that man has character issues, his presence stirs something in you. And the stirring is your responsibility to do something about. So I think about two biblical principles. One, that we're to speak truth and do it with grace. And so if you haven't yet brought these issues to your brother-in-law's attention in private, one-on-one, then that's something that you still need to do. It's an obligation on your part to do. And as a Christian, it's an obligation. And I think about Romans 12:18, that as much as it pertains to us, we're to live at peace with other people. Now, we can't change this man and his character issues, but we can address what's in our power to address, because once we've done those things sufficiently, we can come to a place of healthy detachment, where as long as he's not a current danger, we can be around a person that has character flaws, that's very annoying and frustrating, has done some bad things, but we can be around them with a healthy detachment. And I want you to be able to get to that place with this man, even if he doesn't change his character.
Yeah, I think what has been created is the grand setup and kind of passively, aggressively making the big climactic rejection occur. And I think that can be undone. And I stick with my original thing here that somebody needs to call him up and say, let's talk. And I think that would be good for you to take the lead there and to say, let's talk about the situation at hand. All right. Anything else we want to say here? I'm going to send him a copy of Every Man's Bible, best-selling adult study Bible,
Steve,
in 2021. Yep.
Pardon me. I do want to say that if it's not this birthday, it will be the next family event. And when we delay the inevitable, then these events become very filled with stress and tension, which is why proactive cleaning of the street, by having these conversations when we have the time and the energy to do them, instead of waiting until the last minute, it helps prevent some of this tension that's avoidable because we can do something about our part.
Right. And you could even call him, Steve, like you suggested, and say, there's some things I realize that we need to talk about. However, this weekend isn't the day to talk about them, but could we set up a time after this weekend that we could get together? And I also wonder about the sister in all of this. It's one of your sisters, and how was the relationship with her because of her husband? So,
otherwise, you end up with this photo album of your son's birthday parties, and here's the party where he slammed the door as he left. Here's the party he broke a glass out of anger. And, it's just all about conflict and misery versus celebrating we made it through another year with our wonderful child. I hope something that we've said here is helpful. And, it just never, ever ceases to amaze me of the intricate difficulties we create in our families. And we need our families pulling for us. And boy, we don't always let that happen or facilitate it. Let's go to, how about we talk to Carrie, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. WFIL, great station there. You're on New Life Live. How you doing?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's on your mind?
A lot of tension going on in my marriage. My husband doesn't want to speak to me or deal with it or anything like that, but we've done that before. But now he's really just attending to his family on his side and leaves me home alone and doesn't want to deal with me. And I have a beautiful family. I have 3 children and married and have grandchildren. And it's just that he's making it really difficult for me to talk to. He doesn't want to talk. I don't want anything to do with it. So we talk and we don't go anywhere. So I was wondering if you could give me some advice where I can start to fix this. And we've been married for 56 years.
Oh, my goodness. So if I was talking with him and I said, hey, why aren't you with your wife? Why is it after all these years you kind of live parallel, separate lives? What do you think would be his answer to that?
He would say that I want everything my way, and that why should it be, and he doesn't want to admit that. And I always blame him for the tension that's going on. I think that he would say that I'm controlling and I want everything my way.
Is that true?
Some of it is true.
And are you working on that piece of it?
Oh, yes, I am, very much. And that's what I want to work on myself also. And but he now doesn't even want to deal with that. Doesn't want to. He thinks that,
Carrie, how recently did you start your work on that part of your character?
Oh, wow. I've tried all the time, but recently more because I'm praying more and I want to change. And I'll say maybe a year.
And what's the structured help you're engaging in addition to prayer?
Not any, no other, because we kind of thought, oh man, we're church people goer, and we didn't want anybody to. I'm kind of reserved, so I don't want anybody to know that I'm having trouble, not even my children. So, that's the situation that we kind of. He also teaches in church, and he didn't want anybody to know that that's what's going on at our home. So we keep everything quiet.
Carrie, prayer is necessary and powerful. But the Bible also tells us to combine prayer with conversations with other people. And so I think about James 5:16, where we're confessing regularly to another safe person. And in your case, in many of our cases, it needs to be not just a friend, but either a pastor, a counselor, a therapist, because the character change tends to come in the safety of relationship. So I understand your reasons for keeping it private, but keeping things too private also tends to keep us stuck in old habits and patterns. And it may be that there was sufficient hurt for the years of your marriage that your husband can't yet trust that you will be emotionally safe for him to be around and to open up to. A year of prayer sounds like a long time, but if there's been little evidence of change that your husband is able to see and experience, he might not be ready to trust you yet.
Right, and in and of ourselves, we are limited in what we know to do. And sometimes we do everything we know to do, but it's not enough. Working with a therapist, Carrie, getting into some counseling, it's completely confidential. Nobody in the church has to know. But it's a place where you can process and bounce things off of another person who's not emotionally involved to help you sort through and to think about things and maybe look at things differently so that the changes that you desire to make actually can be seen and felt by your husband. Mm-hmm. And even when the other person is unwilling, if we make changes, even small changes, it can impact the other person. In fact, it does impact the other person.
Yeah, it's pretty rare when it doesn't. There are a few exceptions, but very, very rare. You know, I'm thinking about the word shame here, and that's why we will exist in a horrific situation out of trying to avoid feeling the shame and ridicule of other people. And it's really very, very sad. I'm going to send you the Emotional Freedom Workbook. It deals with that. Also, I've got 10 tips to shame-free living.
And Steve, you're right. When people say I'm a private person, that really is code for I feel too ashamed to let anyone in.
It's also code for I'm a little bit deceptive. I'd like people to see what isn't real, and I'll feel better. But it
kind of an
doesn't.
Ideal version of our lives
doesn't work.
and selves.
Does not work. All right, 10 tips to shame-free living, including get out of yourself and into other people. And just to realize that shame doesn't always come out of some spiritual dilemma. Learn it many times. All right. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you need some help, we really would love to help you. It's not too late to sign up for Lose It for Life. If you've been struggling with your weight, we will help end that struggle. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. A lot of people are in, you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, April 30th. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie Mack Harris will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in the biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. You know, if you've done some things before, you say, oh, I've done that, do it again. Do it differently. Sometimes people go into alcohol and drug treatment, and it's the 15th time that they finally get
learn
better.
through repetition.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Some people need more repetition than others.
As my wife would say, don't not do nothing. Something. Well, I think that's what she said. All right. Let's go to Robin from, I believe this is Dale City, Virginia, WAVA. Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's actually close to Fairfax, so if that makes more sense.
Yeah. Any idea who Dale was?
No, I think that's a great. Thank you for your humor. Yeah, I was going to say the funny thing about it being St. Patrick's Day is, I'm actually calling to say thank you to you guys because I had called. I don't know how many. A couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting the details because you had sent me the Restoration Bible, which was a total surprise. And in honor of Wava's 30th birthday, I think I've almost been listening for close to 29 years.
Awesome.
So I had wanted to say, I'm going to try to keep this short because I know there's so many people that benefit. I've been a listener and have been learning and accepting so much of the wisdom and the advice that comes not only from your professional psychological training and life training and also your own walks with Jesus. But Steve, you had assigned it to me inside because you said on the air I brought up the fact that you guys do kind of group think, and I was bringing up Dave Stoop. So to jog your memory, you had signed the Bible. You just said blessings, and you put down your verse, Ephesians 3:20.
Right.
And so in honor of St. Patty's Day, when it talks about the details of things, I did learn some fun fact, maybe not about Dale, but about St. Patrick in the last month or two through another sermon I was listening to, that, he was drawn back to go back to Ireland. I never knew that he came to America at one point and then he was drawn back.
Yeah.
To go back and preach the gospel. So with the details that we oftentimes deal with in life, I've gone through just in the last 3 or 4 months. That's why I called, that there was injury to my arms. I couldn't work my job. I had to wait. Then all of December, mostly I was sick with a bad cough and cold. It probably was COVID. I'm not sure. And then my mom had like a stroke or possibly a TIA in early January. I couldn't be there with her. And I had to move. And then the funny thing is I just moved into a place last December 1st. I was paying on since August, the last week of August. And now, as a blessing, I need to move again to bless the family so that they can make it office. So on 22222, I found another place to live, and I discovered a natural gas leak outside their house when I went to visit and see the room.
Wow.
So
okay.
I know. So sometimes when we're drawn to go in places and do things, even in the depths of our own soul and our personality, I think just to follow up on the other calls this morning right now, that you guys have such a wonderful way of doing that, and I don't know, some people don't have money to support what you guys do, but as my offering back, I wanted to just read a poem. Can I do that to say thank you?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. This is literally written on, because it gets down to the details of Jesus Christ and the gift that he has given us because of being the truth, like John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And so that's so much of what you guys do. You put skin on the Bible as you talk to people about their situation. So it's Christmas Eve, 12/24/83. Tonight is the eve of our Lord Savior's birth, the moment of truth, the moment of mirth, the moment when one is the focus of all, and power and love melt together in awe of a babe in the manger, a king in a stall, the power of the universe, the source of all. Here at our fingertips, opening a star in the heavens before us, a light from afar, a pathway of truth to follow beyond this little manger, this little dawn.
Well, that's very beautiful.
It's beautiful,
That's so
Robin.
sweet, and thank you for sharing that. And I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to send you a copy of this wonderful little devotional, which is 100 Days Freedom from Depression. And you don't have to be depressed to enjoy this devotional, and we'll send that to you. I wrote a poem yesterday. I went to pick up my daughter at drums. I sent her a text, and I said, I don't love you a little. I love you a lot. Please stop drumming and getting on a fiddle. I'm in the parking lot. So I just felt like it was important that she would know I was out there, and she always appreciates the depth of my poetry. I think it's good. All right, now let's do this. Let's go over here to Jenny. Well, Jenny from Washington, D.C. Jenny, what are we going to talk about when we get back from the break?
Oh, hi. I cannot believe I am actually on the air with you guys.
Well, we're going to go to a break.
Soundtrack host.
Oh, thank you.
I need some help with a friend who just lost her father and is in a depth of grief right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to just think about that. All right. We'll give you some help right after this. You are listening. Some of you are watching on our YouTube channel, New Life Live YouTube channel. New Life Live, the phone number if you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And we have been helping people for almost 34 years. And we're still just getting started. We'll be back after this.
433 pounds.
How long have you weighed that much?
I've probably been over 300 at least 15, 20 years.
Does this sound like your story? It doesn't have to. The weight we carry on the outside is often a result of the burdens we carry on the inside. If you want to reduce your inner burden, New Life's Lose It for Life Extensive can help. The Extensive features a one-day Zoom session presented by Steve Arterburn on Saturday, March 19th, plus 5 weeks of aftercare that include a weekly group session led by your credentialed New Life Network counselor, 5 on-demand training sessions from Steve Arterburn and fitness expert Michelle Spadafora, 3 30-minute private coaching sessions from a nutrition and fitness coach, the Lose It for Life book and workbook, and exercise gear to allow you to start a home fitness routine you'll actually enjoy. If you're finally ready to stop going from diet to diet and begin a comprehensive plan that addresses the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of a healthy life, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are all back right here, and we're talking with Jenny. And Jenny, she said that we are her soundtrack that she has playing there all through her life. And we it's such an honor, Jenny. We'll try to be more respectful of your life as your soundtrack. But so somebody is having a hard time with loss. Is that right?
Yes. So I manage a restaurant, and my entire staff is, college age kids. My husband and I, we don't have kids. So when people ask me how many children I have, I usually tell them 14 because that's the staff that's here. I, love them like they're my own kids and stuff. And one who I'm especially close to, she's like a daughter. I would think I would if I had a daughter, I would want her to be just like her. And she and I are very, very close.
Good.
And a week past Sunday, she lost her father. He passed away, and he had a heart attack and pulled over to the side of the road and passed away in his car. And so troopers came to tell her the news. And he's kind of the only parent that she has. And my question is, how do I help her deal with the grief? The best way, what is the best way to do that? How do I find her a counselor that's like age appropriate? And also, how long do I let her sit in the grief before I really start to push her to, get back out to doing things, get back out and try to start being social again and maybe come back to work a little bit and that sort of thing. I just want to make sure that she processes all of this in a super healthy way. I was much older when I lost my father, and so I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything the right way. I don't want to push her too fast. I don't want to leave her in it for too long. He was really the only parent that she had.
Yeah, I think it's great. Now, did you say this only happened a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, it happened not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. So we're at day 9 now.
Okay. All right, let's start with you, Jill. Thoughts
Jenny,
here?
How wonderful that you care about your staff and how God has brought kids into your life, and where you can have an impact on people. 9 days after losing your only parent, that's really fresh. So it's understandable that she is still just reeling kind of from the shock of it. And so is having a hard time. I think at every step of the way, she needs people around her who care about her. And it sounds like you do. And people that will allow her to be where she's at. So I hear what you're saying in terms of wanting to nudge her along, and I think we can draw people out. We can invite them, say, let's just go for a drive and talk, or let's sit outside and talk. And so you start to do that, but you watch what she can handle, right? Certainly if she's living all alone, well, that's a hard place to be in your grief, is all alone. So
yeah, she has a roommate who's been amazing, super supportive, and she has a wonderful young man in her life, which is also part of my staff. So I know how good he is. And I want to make sure she has a tendency, because he is her only parent. Her mother is still alive, but she has no contact with her mother because her mother suffers from Munchausen by proxy, and
that's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, so
both
her
father and her and stuff. So
oh boy, so her father was the healthier of the two, obviously.
Oh,
and
he was wonderful.
I would probably say to her, you're right on schedule with the grieving process, and maybe given all these things, she needs a couple more weeks before she would think about getting back to work at some level. I hate to see her sit out too long.
Right, or you say, why don't you come in and just work part of a shift and see how you do? Or if you're feeling like you can't handle it, like it's too much, well, then we'll swap you out. But just give her options, right? And let her talk about her dad, and also be aware that this might bring up a lot of her grief about her mom too at this time.
Yeah, just being present, being there, and not feeling like you have to have some words of wisdom, but just being there, being available, and her knowing that you care about her, and if she needs you when she's not at work, you'd be available, to talk and share with her. Alice, you have a final thought here?
Jenny, you might offer her our number. As you may know, we have a network of counselors. And whether or not she's a Christian, our counselors can work either out of their Christian perspective or respect the beliefs of the person that they're working with. And you can either offer her number, she can do it directly, or offer to help her get connected through us with a clinician. And I think what might be hard will be offering her resources, but then allowing her to decide what she wants to do and doesn't want to do with them. And as sort of you're in a motherly position with her. But as you well know, with a college-age kid, whether she was your biological child or your spiritual child, you still have to allow her to decide what she's going to do with all these great options you're putting in front of her.
Really good point.
And we also have the grief workshop too that's coming up in May.
Right.
That might be a good
Transforming Grief, May the 7th. And I'll send you our workbook on the grief process along with a Life Recovery Bible. So you'll get another Bible that I think you'll really, really like. Larry Sonnenberg is in the studio, patiently waiting to share with us. What do you have, Larry?
Well, Steve, Saturday is Lose It for Life.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage people. You might think, it's a little late to sign up for something, but this is on Zoom. And it doesn't matter if you're in Alaska, Hawaii, California, New York, wherever, the South, North. There's no hurdles to have to get anywhere other than to a quiet room and get your laptop opened up or a computer. So I just want to really encourage folks, don't miss this. It's a very, very special opportunity to be a part of this workshop that is more than just a workshop.
It really is. And we need folks' help. We're involved in some things, projects. We want to expand. We want to meet people's needs. And what do you say to someone who knows they could give, but they don't know? They just not brave enough to pick up the phone.
We talked to a lady the other day, and she is fairly wealthy, And she said she wanted to give an amount, but she thinks she'll give double that amount now. She said, this is really hard. And we had a conversation and said, you know what, it will get easier as you do it. God speaks to you. It gives you a joy to be a part of something and to know that you're helping. So, try it. Trust God. He wants to use you as an instrument of His wealth and His ability to help others. So do that.
Yeah, when Solomon joined the marching band at the high school, I was asking him what that felt like, and he said, it's amazing. They have about 500 people. He said, it's amazing to be part of something bigger than myself. Yeah. And when you give to us, you instantly become part of something bigger. And, we're all over this country. We're doing amazing things, transforming lives, and the people that support us, it goes to you, your credit. You're our partner. We cannot do it without you, and we're so grateful when you help us. And if you want to, you can call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Anything else you want to add, Larry?
Yeah, Alice has a short testimony from Lose It for Life, a lady wrote.
Okay.
I've been confused by some of the other programs that I've been involved in before and was getting discouraged and frustrated and needed God's intervention for direction. This weekend has been an experience like no other that I've had. The openness and realness of everyone was so important to me. It shines the light of Christ in the dark places. This workshop has been about healing and restoring to be free, and not about diets and restrictions and more bondage. I'm leaving this weekend knowing God's love never fails and that I need Him and other people. I'm responsible for this body that He gave me, and I'm so glad that I came to this workshop.
It's so rewarding when people tell us what they experience, because that's what we designed to have happen, and God's Holy Spirit makes it happen. So thank you for signing up. Thank you for giving, if you can give to New Life and help us keep this thing going.
1-800-NEW-LIFE to help us help others. I'm going to be speaking on emotional eating, and then obsessions and compulsions and the unresolved emotions that drive those, and fatal excuses. Well, if we could just rid the world of these things that we latch onto that prevent us from getting better, it would be a better world, and that's what we want. If you want to join us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE to be part of Lose It for Life. And that's not the weight, that's not the food, it's the stuff beneath the weight that keeps us heavy, miserable, wondering, am I weak? Am I unable to be better? No, you're not, but you have to come join us.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back and glad you're with us. I do have 10 tips on getting rid of the shame in your life. Romans 10:11 says, as the scripture says, everyone who trusts in him will never be put to shame. And yet many people live in shame. And you don't need to do that. That's what Jesus died for. And then I've got 7 warning signs of gaslighting. And I was actually fortunate enough the other day to be watching television when the old movie that this concept comes from, Gaslighting, came on. And it was really interesting to see how this man kept his wife kind of off center by dimming the lights and turning up the intensity and then acting like he didn't see anything, that he didn't know what it was all about, that she was a bit crazy. Well, gaslighting in this day and age is when somebody's being deceptive and they're not telling you the whole truth. In fact, they'll tell you bits of the truth in ways that deceive you completely. Pretty painful to be on the other end of gaslighting, wouldn't you say?
Well, it really impedes your ability to trust people, right? And makes you question your own discernment, I think, especially when it's somebody who you really care about.
True. All right, so you can get those by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 7 warning signs of gaslighting, and of course one of those is you get blamed for everything. I should not ever be blamed for everything. About half the stuff's my fault. Not everything. All right, Every Man's Battle is April the 8th in Columbus, Ohio. And this weekend you could still sign up. Our Lose It for Life 5-week extensive. It will not just change the way you look and feel, but it'll change you from the inside out. Let's go to Amy, Nashville, Tennessee, where a bunch of New Life folks were last week at the National Religious Broadcasters convention. Hi there. How are you, Amy? What's going on?
Hey, I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Fair. Okay. How can we help? What is it we could help you with?
Yes, sir. I was just telling your call screener there that my daughter recently told me, she's 14, that she'd been touched inappropriately by a cousin. He is 1 year older than she is. And so we have her in some therapy. It's been a really tough time. She does want me to talk to his parents. And, of course, you know, it's very just tough, delicate situation because it's, of course, his parent, his mom is my sister, and you know, we have a great relationship, and I just
you're about to find out whether or not you have a great relationship.
Well, and Amy, how old did you say they were when this occurred?
Yes, she was 14.
But it happened when she was 14.
Yes,
and he was 15.
In June, and it happened a few years apparently. It started, I think, 2 or 3 years ago.
It was ongoing.
Yes, and I think initially at first that she realized that it was wrong, but she hasn't even told me all the details, just like that it was inappropriate, like in a swimming pool. But she definitely has. Okay.
How old is she today?
14.
So and this just happened.
Okay, and when?
Well,
at what age did it start?
It's August. It was started, I think, when she was 12.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, what is the question for us in this tough?
I mean, should I go ahead and talk to my sister, or should I? She's asked me not to. Like, she gets afraid. She's like, please don't say anything. Please don't say anything. And she has just had her third therapy session yesterday, so she's just kind of getting started with that. I don't know, if I should go ahead and talk to her. Or
Amy, I recommend strategizing with a therapist.
That's right.
Well, it's not uncommon for victims not to want anything to happen.
Right.
But not doing anything more than getting therapy, would not be sufficient, either to protect your daughter, to get help for the cousin, or to protect whomever else he might be perpetrating against. And so there is a need to tell, but you can go about it cautiously with the advice of the therapist and as much buy-in from your daughter as you can possibly get. So you can get your opinion from her and the therapist, letting her know, I will need to do something, but we can figure out together when, how, and how to go about it.
And I think with the therapist, empowering her to be able to take that step is really an important part of her healing. And to see that this cousin, who she probably cares about, has some issues here that are problematic for his life moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm thinking a phone call to the therapist to tell her you want to share this because you want to protect people. Your daughter doesn't want this shared. What does she suggest? What's the timing? For me, the sooner we can get to the point of sharing, the less likely somebody else is going to be victimized like this. So,
right.
But she's the one, I think, that, really can give you the best perspective on that. So that's what I would do. Yeah. So sorry that has happened. And let me send you a copy of this Restoration Bible here, and I hope that will be a blessing to you. When you think about getting married and having children, you just think, oh, it's just going to be so much fun. It's going to be great. And then reality hits, and there's some really unfun, not so great things that we have to deal with. It's really, really tough. And just like in this case, we're torn. What do I do? My daughter doesn't want this shared, and she's been through enough already. It's always something that we never thought we'd have to deal with.
Right. But she also has an opportunity to teach her daughter how we do deal with things in life. We don't just sweep them under the carpet and just be afraid, right? We have to step into the hard stuff, and it's a chance for Amy to really be there for her daughter.
Yeah, everything in us wants to cover up, hide, conceal, it'll just go away, but it doesn't. And you never bury anything dead. You always bury it alive, and it needs to be fed, and it gets fed with all sorts of crummy behaviors and all of that. There's so much gratitude in this world for folks who have called on somebody for help, and they've walked them down a path of healing. I mean, we just hear it all the time. Thank you so much. You introduced me to a counselor that helped me beyond anything I could ever imagine, or went to the workshop. And I was down at Tony Evans' church. I think I told this the other day. I was speaking there a couple of weekends ago. Guy walks up, wants to talk to me. He says in 2009, there was unfaithfulness. We came to your marriage thing, didn't even stay in the same room. We were done. Today, we are kicking it. That's what he said. They have a great marriage. And that is always possible. And you can have a great self-image, and you can have a great weight that doesn't define you before anybody ever gets to know you. That's a very sad thing. If you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you, Dr. Alice Benton, Dr. Jill Hubbard. Thanks to all of you who listen, watch, pray, and support this ministry. We are grateful. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.